Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy P Funk thinking right out here in the lab, in the book. I'm about to wrap this book up. We have page 176, ain't but 191 pages left in the book, so we got like 15 more pages to go. So let's get busy. I got something nice for you today. Let's go. Rightism. 25 rules live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give you life lessons. You tune into receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and I'm on it, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinker's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline practiced daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get that together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not, foolish, disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself, and to Maya, be true. Right thinkers, let's talk about the wisdom you gain from daily meditation. Okay, let's talk about the wisdom of meditation. How about that? Now, after listening to the wisdom teachings and then purifying your mind and body, how? By reflecting upon those teachings and living life based on said teachings, then a spiritual aspirant, right thinker, you will begin to succeed in the higher levels of what? Spiritual awakening. That's how it's done. Daily meditation is the third step in the yoga of wisdom philosophy at the third level, and is also the third level of religion, the third level masonry. Just want to kick that in so you know. And all of these is predicated on you learning as you go, but you obtain wisdom in the faculty of the philosophy of wisdom of yoga. That's the art of what? Daily meditation, and it's a special discipline, unlike ordinary meditation. In ordinary meditation, a person may sit quietly and concentrate the thoughts until they are able to transcend their mind. Clear their mind and as a follow concept. But in the wisdom meditation, the thoughts are all concentrated, focused on one single idea. That's called concentration. And that the absolute self, God, is the transcendental essence behind all things. So therefore, no matter where your mind goes, no matter what thought enters your mind, an advanced student, right thinker, you can continue what? Reflecting on the divine God. Why? No matter where they may be or no matter what they may be doing. I keep my mind on God. I keep God on my mind. That's called being God conscious. That's what they're telling you. You can practice that. That's the meditative state of mind that you stay in. In this manner, they are now able to what? Maintain what they call a detached attitude towards the world. When I say I don't really care, I don't. Why? It ain't that important to me. Anything that don't mean me no good, I don't really care about it. A lot of people concerned about a bunch of stuff that don't do them no good, but that's their ignorant of themselves, so they think a whole bunch of stuff will make them happy. Moving on. Contentment in oneself is having knowledge of self. Moving on. When you know God, when you got God, you got everything you need. Some Christians understand it, some Muslims and some Jews understand it. A lot of people don't. Everybody don't understand it. But when you are in this manner, now you are able to maintain that detached attitude toward the world and other peoples and remain always what? In the company of your God and Goddess, who is like a light illuminating where? In your mind at all times. I keep my mind on God. I keep God on my mind. Same thing, concept. So every now and then people, I guess, don't think about God. But remember, the idle mind is the devil's workshop. If your mind ain't on God, what is it on? That's the concept. And watch this. Now, as a wisdom student, right? That's what y'all are. And you advance. He or she is now able to what? Know when that egoistic feeling wants to raise up. You put your foot on his neck, keep him in the servitude position. You know when the egoistic feelings or those negative thoughts are what are rising in your mind. And now you can what? Dismiss them immediately, effortlessly. Negative thoughts, I don't even think about it. I just meant that. No, get it. No. Why? Stay focused on God. Knock it out. If your mind is idle and ain't on God, that negative stuff come in and start to permeate. All of a sudden, you got a whole bunch of garbage. That's why. And watch this. You can do that when you get good. You can do it effortlessly with what? With this single thought. You might want, I ain't thinking about that. You might want, I ain't doing that. So when it gets the devil, when he get tired of coming at you so many different ways and he can't get to you, he will personally leave you alone. Okay? Why? You're hard nut to crack. He go get somebody that's easier. It's too much work. Moving on. And because you're ignorant, an ignorant person is dominated by what? You ready? The egoistic thoughts and their feelings, their emotions, and their desires of the flesh, so they cannot act with reason. Too much stuff going on. The water's too, It needs to be clear. A subtle mind, a clear mind, is the well-functioning mind. A mind that's agitated, worried, ain't full of anxieties and concepts. It's never at peace, and it don't work the way it should, okay? You can't think with an agitated mind. Simple. So therefore, what happens? They are constantly agitated and in a state of what? Discontent. They're never happy. It's always a problem. It's always something. It's always something. Remember? When for bad luck, I had no luck. Why? Because it always just kept coming. It didn't never stop. Every day was something. It was always something. Not realizing because what? I was ignorant. That's what's going to happen if you keep doing that. But the practitioner, a.k.a. a yogi, which I am, of wisdom, yoga can discover what? The essence of things. Yeah. With the power of your mind. Again, this thing. And they can now rise above the clouds of what? Egoistic thoughts, negative ideas, in order to see the entire field of what? Their human life. From the great height of what? Self-mastery. There you go. You can't self-mastery on a lower level. No, that ain't self-mastery. No, you on the beastly nature level. But self-mastery level, just as an airplane soars high above the clouds in order to what? Go beyond the pettiness or the limitations of human existence. That's why your spirit is recognized by the falcon or the eagle, the hawk. Why? When the weather get bad, most birds go fly for cover. Falcon, he go up passing around and going about his business. That's why. And that's why the spirit is able to do that. That's the symbology behind the spirit being in the falcon or the eagle form. It's all symbolical. And once you understand the symbology, you get the concept. That's esoteric messaging and learning. That's what they do. Continuous daily meditation on who? The divine. That's the key for spiritual realization. You ain't got to be fanatical about it. My best friend is a pastor, Christian. First thing in the morning, We talk, we pray. The first thing we talk about is what? The blessing that we receive from God. At the end of the day, we talk again. Discuss what? The blessing that we went through for the day. That's being God conscious. We ain't fanatical at all. But we live and do right. He do it his way, I do it my way. And God recognized that. Why? Because as long as it's in his honor, it's all good. That's why. In what respect? Watch this. To the single-minded devotion of one's consciousness, which is necessary in order for you to realize what? The inner light. That little light of mine that's inside, I'm going to let it shine. Why? By being my best self. I didn't know that way back then. I didn't have a clue. But I just know this little light of mine. And watch this. By realizing the little light and what at the teaching is giving in the Christian statement concerning what? Two masters, which cannot be served jointly. You cannot. I got the phrase coming up somewhere over here. I got some phrases I'm going to read to you from the Bhagavad Gita, the Egyptians, the Christians, the Quran, a whole bunch of different philosophical concepts about the oneness of God and the power of meditation to get you there. These are either worldliness and engagement in senses, objects, which was this? Which leads to what? Mental illusions and imaginations of what they call duality, or the path which leads to what? Introspection and enlightenment, aka oneness. If you understand the teaching, that's where you're supposed to go. You can't serve two places, two guys that went, no, you're going to do this or you're going to do that. You got a 50-50 shot. But the Bhagavad Gita, it gives extensive instructions in this area. The idea, of oneness, one-pointedness, of the mind, all your heart. It occurs in the Bhagavad Gita, as they say, Krishna explains to Arjuna, his student, in various ways, what? How to attain oneness with God. Everybody had a philosophical concept, and that's what the sages and the saints are for. Let's go. I'm breaking a few of them down for you. We're going to deal with the Bhagavad Gita. We use Gita for sure. So the Gita in chapter 8, Brahman Yoga of imperishable Brahma, meaning God. They call God Brahma in India. It says, partake, taking recourse of the yoga, repeated practice of what? Daily meditation, in possessing a mind that what? Does not go elsewhere. No drifting, no wavering, focus, concentrated, and constantly dwelling upon me. That's God saying, when you do this, you dwell upon me, you one now goes to what? The efficient, effulgent self, which is they call the supreme self in India. That's the concept. Now, again, in the Gita, but those who worship me by meditating upon me with a vision of what? Non-separateness. We one, not you and me and you. No, we one. No separation. And who has ceasingly what? Devoted that love to me, for me. I look after their yoga and bless them. These are phrases of God talking back to those who do what he's supposed to do. The Gita, again, chapter 12. The blessed Lord said, here you go, those who having immersed their mind in me, endowed with faith and worship, again, in me, with ceaseless devotion daily in me, they are, in my opinion, you ready? The best skilled in yoga. Yoga is the philosophy to commune with God. They got that clearly understood. But those who having offered, watch this, who having offered all actions, all good deeds, again, to me, devoted, again, to me, meditate upon me with one pointed mind, will be blessed. It only gets better. I got more. Oh, I got good stuff here. The importance of what? Maintaining the single-minded devotion to God is embodied in what? In this verse I'm about to read to you right here. No man can serve two masters. You got God, you got the self, the evil self, the ego self. You can serve yourself and get pleasures and right there, or you can serve God and get blessings. Your choice, but you can't serve both. For either he will have what? Hate for one and love for the other, or else he will or she will hold to one and despise the other. Same concept. This is from the Bible, from Matthew 6:24. Okay, the psychological interpretation of that statement clearly refers to a human's outlook, which is extroverted and externalized, rather than introverted and self-realized. That's the difference. Outward projection means nothing. It's all about the inward. And a single-mind devotion person is of what? Paramount importance. Why? Because their heart and their mind, as referred to, is the key to our perceptions of the world. This and this, working as one, you will see and understand everything the way it is. Whatever the mind holds, watch this, most dear will be the object of its undivided attention. So therefore, if the mind is externalized when the worldly things, objects with worldly interests, right there, it will lack the willpower and the strength, inner strength, to what? To become calm enough to be able to witness what? The serenity of what? The consciousness unclouded with negative thoughts and cravings of the physical body, lower nature. If you can't conquer that, you're going to always have problems. And this serenity is the what? Prerequisite for being able to achieve that atonement with what they call Christians, Christ consciousness. Yeah, I got the same concept, same philosophy. These are all tied in. Everybody got a way to become one with God. Understand that. And ain't nobody wrong. Understand that. I'm not here to pick out who to know. I'm just giving you the breakdown. Everybody had a philosophy. Everybody had a way to get to God. Not even made it a hustle. That's my point with that. Wait a minute, I'm past that. Okay, move past it. I got another one. Perfected. This is from the Gita, chapter 5. Karma, Sanya Yoga, the yoga of renunciation of action. It says, a perfected in yoga of action, selfless service, Maya philosophy, what we call it, with a pure heart, doing it for the right reasons, having control over your lower nature, the body, and mastery over your senses. He holds the self in all beings, such as a sage is untouched by what? The actions, even though he continues performing them. When I do what I do, I'm doing it from the heart. So I'm not caught up in how it is, what it is, what. Nope, don't concern me. When I get lessons, I don't concern myself with how many people view it. Not my concern. The content is what I got control over. That's what I do for you. All right, I got a few more lessons down here. I like that. Moving on. This is gonna be a nice one. I got a couple more. They're going to be short, but this is going to be a long one. I'm going to try to break it down. Now, this is a biblical concept. No, it ain't. I'm sorry. This is Indian. The technique of continuous devotional meditation. I told you, that's the meditative state of mind. That's being God conscious. For the Christians, called being prayed up. But with the continuous devotional meditation, keeping your mind on God and God on your mind, what? You receive special treatment in what they call the Vedanta philosophy from India. That's what this is about. Watch this. As it is expressed in the Yoga Vasishtha, in this text, Lord Shiva explains to the sage Vishastra, the doctrine that's concerning what? The highest form of worship. Might want to pay attention. This consists of what? Causing the mind to flow where? Towards the divine self. How? Through seeing God in all things. The third eye. Everything is God. And when this is achieved, that's awakening. The third eye, watch this. A meditative state of mind, we call that, you ready? I'll get this lesson. This is samadhi. I remember that's like that word, samadhi. All right, it's spelled Samadhi. And know what that means? Super consciousness. Not just conscious, you're super conscious. Now, your extrasensory perception has been heightened to a real high level. Your discernment is heightened. Everything is heightened up, like Spider-Man. Everything is heightened. That's what super consciousness gives you. And this is achieved, what? Is achieved even while what? Engaged in worldly activities. I'm not going to no monastery. I'm not going to change my life just to get to know God. I'm going to practice it on my time, on my terms, and still do what I need to do to function in the real world. Hello? Prior to what? The scientific advances in modern physics in the last century, 100 years, aspirants were brought to what? To understanding that the underlying reality behind all objects is the one and the same. The one. Everything comes from the one. We call it the divine self, the virtue, God, the absolute, whatever. But through the spiritual practice, meaning internal work, mental, and listening to the lessons and reflecting upon them and eventually meditating on the teachings, now it is sustained in the brain. In modern physics, just as in the practice of mystical philosophy from the ancients, wisdom must transcend faith. What you mean? Even though atoms, which is particles and electricity have never been seen by human eye. We don't know it. The properties of both are well understood. We ain't seen God. Nobody laid eyes on him. Can't get the concept. Air, we don't see it. We sure breathe it. So understand that. But today, it is possible to pick up many books of modern physics which graphically show, though experimental evidence now, during this time, the physical world is not real. That is all phenomenal and reality, energy in various states of vibration. We know that energy, vibration, frequency. So therefore, it is no longer necessary to make the initial leap of faith or believe it that there is an underlying reality to creation beyond the ordinary human senses, because it is. From here, we may now begin our spiritual practice by simply reminding ourselves constantly that what we are seeing, feeling, hearing, tasting, touching, thinking, etc., is in reality what? The divine self. Further, that what is within us, which perceives itself in the divine self as well, indeed, there is nothing else that exists that is not of the divine self. Remember the circle? Everything in that circle is of the circle. And this is the kingdom of which Jesus says that man do not see. God's greatness, but it ain't the visible kind. Nature you can see, but the spiritual kind is internal. Wrapping it up. See the clock? Yeah, okay, now I got to do this real quick right there. Through simple sounding, this technique is one of the hardest forms of yoga to practice. And why? But since it requires constant control over one's mind, and by applying it on the conditions, but the continuous realization, meaning you keeping it real 24/7, you don't turn it off. My man said, yo, you might want to tone it down. Nope, can't. 24/7, full throttle. Constant realization of what? Of the wisdom at an intellectual level, Meaning you're constantly thinking, right? That's what it does. Until what? It is actually realized what intuitionally is just automatic. It's there, okay? But the brain muscle memory, all right? That is what until it becomes self-evident. It's got to become self, meaning prove it to yourself, evidence to you. You and God need to make that connection. Now it's what? Self-evident. Gnostic, you know from experience. Wrapping it up. The idea of one-pointed devotion as a way to realize oneness with God only occurs in what? In A, Indian Upanishads. They taught this in 900 BCE. Cool. And then B, Egyptian mythology, 5000 to 100 BCE. Okay. And it's most explicitly explained in C, which is the Yoga of Vasishtha, and that came about in 700 ACE. Right quick. Each one of them had a philosophy. The Upanishad said, seek to know God, the kingdom of heaven, by what? Acquiring faith in the word of the scriptures and in your guru, teacher, mystic, sage, saint. Be devoted to Brahma, aka God. Meditate daily on him incessantly, not to work or nor be progeny, nor by wealth, but to be devoted to him, not for riches of the world, not for possessions, but to him, and be indifference to the world. Does a man achieve immortality? You can't take nothing with you but what you got. Now, let's talk about the B with the Hermetic philosophy. They say when an idea exclusively occupies the mind, what you think, what you want to act on, it is now transformed into what? Actual physical state. You're going to manifest it, make it happen. Reason of divinity may not be known except by what? A concentration of the senses like unto it. What you think about, what you believe, and what you're going to focus on. And C, wrapping it up, the Yoga of Shastra, it says this, right quick. While talking openly and closing the eyes, accepting and rejecting objects and all such activities at all times. Be devoted to the self, God. And by keeping yourself detached from the operations of the mind, do not forget the self, whether in life or in death. Why? Whether in pleasure or pain, be devoted to the self, whether your body is young or old. See where we're going with this? Whether you have prosperity or adversity in life, whether you are in a dream or in a sleep, underlying reality behind all phenomenal, eternal or external, God, kingdom of heaven is within. Wrapping it up, where is it? Right here. My favorite, and this is closing it out. Perfect. Give thyself to God. Guard thyself well for God when daily, and let tomorrow be as today. The house of God is an abomination to it. It is much speaking. Pray thou with what? A loving heart and a conscious mind. All its words being hidden. I don't pray out loud. I keep it inside. I internally pray. He will what? Will do thy business. He will do thy business. He will hear what thou sayest and what will receive thy offerings. What's the offerings you give to God to get blessings? Good deeds. Righteous, virtuous actions when daily. That's what I do. You can do it too. That's the lesson. Hope you got it. Hope you enjoyed it. And in closing, right thinkers, may you all let it be 100 me, 100 minus that day. So I never know that my right thinkers who are going to know themselves and become one with God have passed away.